Come on. You used to love alla prima painting. Have a little fun for once.
Please, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you'll never improve.
Do it. Just do it.
It genuinely hurts me not to be happy with my artwork when I'm finished with it. I think for this reason, I tend to be afraid to try new things, and I rely on things I'm good at instead of experimenting. There's been many points in my career where I feel like I've stagnated, so I think it would be very helpful to talk about how I've been able to improve. In this video, I'm going to talk about my natural tendencies as an artist and how I've forced myself to grow. Chew! As artists go, I generally tend to be a lot more technically oriented than most. Outside of art, my favorite subject in school was history, with metaphysical philosophy coming in as a pretty close second. Carrying this into art, naturally I'm much more comfortable with formal and technical aspects like composition, color theory, and painting than I am with things like narrative and emotion. I think for this reason, throughout my career, a lot of people identify that I'm more of a craftsman than an artist, and I think that's a pretty fair observation. The thing is, even though I might naturally be more of a craftsman, I still want to make art. Sure, I've been able to achieve impressive levels of mastery when I follow my natural craftsman mindset, but the issue with this mindset when I unconsciously follow it is I feel like I produce art that's kind of one note and lacking in a lot of areas. To give an example, this is probably my favorite painting from college. Generally speaking, I think it all looks pretty cool and there's a lot of interesting technical things going on, but that's really it. This painting has no narrative and the subject is totally arbitrary. Like, it's a random patch of dirt on the side of a trail near my dorm. So, yeah, I think it should be pretty evident that I had really no idea how to, pick a subject matter with meaning. As an artist, I want to make artwork with interesting combinations of technique, but I also want to make artwork that has meaningful subjects and narratives. Unfortunately, as evident in my previous artwork, that's something that I'm pretty bad at. Fortunately, I've been through this before, and I figured out how to rewire my craftsman brain again and again to force it to evolve and grow. Basically, I identify the aspect of my art I want to improve, and then I abandon everything that I think makes my artwork good, so that I can really focus on what I want to improve. The byproduct of this process is there's long periods in my career where I make art that's just absolutely terrible. Like, the only thing I have to rely on in my art making is something that I'm pretty bad at, and it's reflected in my work. This methodology to achieve change is deeply unpleasant, but it changes the way I think about art, and in the long term I think it made me a better artist. I think as I've matured as an artist, I've just accepted that sometimes I'll make bad paintings. Where I used to really beat myself up about those bad paintings, now I see them as evidence that I'm trying new things. That brings me to my current predicament.
For the past 2 years, you haven't found any of your paintings interesting because they all lack the one thing which you find fundamentally interesting, and that is brushwork. So, are you going to listen to him and continue to suffer, or are you for once going to make a painting that you like?
Well, because you did try to make art that focused on things which you're bad at for a long time, you did grow a lot as an artist, so I guess he does kind of have a point.
Haha! I win!
In a way, I've become comfortable making artwork that relies exclusively on narrative and subject, and my artwork's starting to become good again. I think it's time for me to try something new, and I think for this painting, I'm going to see what happens when I combine the recent lessons I learned with my more natural technical tendencies that I've been recently avoiding. If you're curious to see how this painting comes out, or want to hear me talk about art more, please subscribe to stay tuned.